won't believe this shocking betrayal. Clock's own crew is turning against him. Did you know Clock's own gang member is snitching against him in his trial? It would be announced. Bronx drill rapper K Flock reportedly used a firearm against someone who had threatened his friend in 2020. Today, that same friend testified against him. The snitch's name is Brockington, better known on the streets as Douche. Not the rapper Douche B, but this Douche was caught dealing and decided to cut a deal. In exchange for leniency, he betrayed Clock without a second thought. The prosecutors were quick to turn their attention to Douche, knowing he held the keys to their case. After you got hit, who called you into the hospital? Rockington, aka Douche, said KK called. He said, "You know we got you, bro," referring to K Flock, indicating that they were going to retaliate against whoever hit Rockington that day. Prosecutors ask, "They hit them up in retaliation for you?" Rockington says someone was grazed in the face. Prosecutors then ask, "Did you see the defendant, aka K Flock, with a firearm?" Rockington says yes, and that K Flock was arguing on live with somebody. This lines up perfectly. With the passing of Oscar Hernandez, the case against K Flock solidified. On December 23, 2021, K Flock was charged in connection with Oscar's death. He had been spotted walking in his own neighborhood, wearing a blue coat, a ski mask, and designer jeans. During an Instagram live, he got into a heated argument with a rival before ending the stream and tucking his phone into his pocket. Shortly after, he walked past a barber shop where Oscar Hernandez recognized him from the flashy outfit he had flaunted earlier that day. Seeing K Flock outside, Oscar stepped out of the shop and confronted him. The two, who had a history of disputes, began arguing loudly. The tense exchange escalated until Oscar appeared to reach for something in his pocket. In that moment, K Flock pulled a firearm from his own pocket and opened fire. Oscar turned to run, but K Flock hit him multiple times before fleeing the scene. Witnesses quickly called 911, and paramedics arrived to take Oscar to a nearby hospital, where he ultimately passed away. Left behind were shell casings and Oscar's slides. For the first 24 hours, the NYPD struggled to identify the masked shooter. They gathered security footage and witness statements, but had no solid leads until they sought help from the public. When they posted an image of the suspect, people began piecing things together. Unfortunately for K Flock, just an hour after the incident, he had been flaunting that same designer outfit on Instagram Live in front of thousands of viewers. Fans tagged him, effectively alerting authorities. As the investigation closed in, K Flock secured a top-tier attorney. Together, they walked into the NYPD's 30th precinct. The following day, the lawyer released a public statement. "I accompanied Kevin as he self-surrendered to detectives at the 30th precinct. Arrangements were made immediately with the NYPD once I learned that he was wanted. Regarding the charges against him, we have begun our own investigation into the allegations. We will address bail once we have had a chance to review the case further." As Clock's lawyer was then given all of the evidence, and he would quickly believe that K-Lock was acting in self-defense as Oscar reached for his firearm first.
And is found, he's got a loaded that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. We consider that to be self-defense.
So he did keep him in self-defense?
That's what the allegation is. I don't want to talk too much about the details of the case.
Okay.
The government claims that he pulled the... But at the same time, the person that was around had his hand on a illegal loaded, apparently about Kevin.
Okay. So without saying too much, you're arguing obviously self-defense. That's the crux.
That could be one of the arguments, self-defense, and I would say to the public, somebody's walking up to you with a loaded, it's pretty clear he's going to use it, with a criminal record a mile long. Do you want to get or do you not want to?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to.
Shortly after the NYPD released their statement, they linked the incident to a long-standing feud between two street crews, fueled by Clock's well-known ties to the Bronx-based Third Side team. Throughout his time in the free world, Clock's name carried weight on the streets, where his involvement in street activities was well documented. His reputation gave him significant influence, but it also painted a target on his back as his rivals sought vengeance. This escalating conflict not only tarnished his street credibility, but also crippled his burgeoning rap career. Without many pre-recorded songs to keep his music alive, Clock's name began to fade from the industry spotlight. The strain of these events eventually prompted his closest friend, B. Lovey, to address the situation in a revealing interview.
Okay, but so I saw some fans who were off at both me and academics after K Flock got locked up just because I guess in our tone when we talked about it, it might have seemed like we were being a little too presumptuous. But is that weird for you? Because I'm sure you see people all the way from rappers to whoever acting like your boy is just done and he's cooked in this situation.
I ain't gonna lie, people. Especially people that don't even be knowing, y'all don't even know what's going on.
But did you know that K Flock's lawyer publicly announced his confidence in a self-defense claim, causing K Flock to break down in tears right there in the courtroom? He was so overcome by emotion that, from his jail cell, he even hopped on a call with rapper Top 5.
Talk to them, Flock. Talk to them, my dog. Soon come home, man. You got these little boys walking around with no jewels, Flock. They need you. They need you, Flock.
I'm coming in.
This news even prompted other rappers to speak out, showing their support for the embattled New York artist.
It's big artist coming out of New York.
I love Flock, so I like that. That's my guy.
Okay.
But you know, I'm wishing him the best right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, for the alleged charges they pushing on him, you know what I'm saying? I'm wishing the family the best. I'm wishing the whole team the best and everything. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he beat them alleged charges. You know what I'm saying? Because he got a lot of future brightness. He got. I hope. You know what I'm saying?
That would be a sad story if that's the end of it.
We ain't gonna think like that. You know what I'm saying?
Just as K-Flock's lawyer was shaping a self-defense strategy, things took a darker turn. K-Flock was hit with a federal indictment, facing new racketeering conspiracy charges under RICO statutes. The news sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community, prompting creators to react and say, quote, K-Flock just caught a RICO. It's really over. Even academics is saying that the feds just unsealed an indictment on K-Flock for a RICO charge. The mandatory minimum, if he doesn't beat those charges or cooperate, is life in prison. He is also facing state charges that have him locked up. Pray for him. This ties in perfectly with what rap veteran Bowie said about YNW Melly: when the feds want you, they'll do whatever it takes to get you. K-Flock's lawyer believed he had a strong self-defense case against the Oscar Hernandez charges, so they instead hit him with RICO allegations to ensure his conviction.
They wanted him bad when they waited for that law to get passed. So it'd be 8-4.
Oh, right, yeah.
They waited all the way till that law got passed to take him to trial.
Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, they could have been took him to trial.
You're right.
They waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. When they want you, man. Just don't see how he didn't get a bond after.
In response to the RICO charge, K-Flock's lawyer stated, quote, we're not surprised by the federal charges, as we have been defending Kevin's state charges for over a year now. Considering the incident was a clear act of self-defense, it wasn't a strong case. But now, it's being used as the basis for a potential penalty charge, which is extraordinary. The video makes it crystal clear Kevin was about to be attacked after attempting to walk away from Oscar. Kevin then used his item to defend himself against another armed gang member who was about to pull his own item out of his pocket. But what K-Flock's lawyers didn't realize was that the feds' case was weaker than it seemed. On the very first day of trial, it would be revealed that their evidence was limited. Day one of K-Flock's trial is over. Initial thoughts. The prosecutors seem unprepared. They're stumbling over their words, struggling to answer the judge's questions, and failing to present evidence to counter K-Flock's lawyer's defense. Observers noted that K-Flock appeared emotional at the close of his first day in court. Understandable, given that it was his initial trial. Still, his lawyer reportedly leaned in and whispered, we're going to win this case. K-Flock's legal team even released a statement on his behalf from jail.
I know what's going on, man. Flock, I know something to do. Man, like, free me to the guys, man. And yo, like, I'll be back real soon. Shout out to my fans, my supporters, man. I love all y'all, man. For all of you out there, guys, man. For me, and do what y'all supposed to do.